Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Indian Business Excellence Summit version 1. Welcome Mr. Ravi Ramanathan to the show. Before we start, I would like to have a quick introduction about the program. Then we have the whole day sessions scheduled with experienced speakers. The main objective of Indian Business Excellence Summit is uh, we have knowledge in India. Okay, so we have experienced consultants, industry seniors, practitioners, but it is not available for everybody to know what is going on, best practice sharing, and also availability of the help at the right time is not there. Okay, so with my personal experience also, when we need some help, so we need to look for somebody. Maybe there is somebody who has already done some decent work, but we need to understand from the scratch. So to solve this problem, so Indian Business Excellence Summit is bringing expert from the industry, consultants, and also technologists together, into a platform. They deliver lectures. It is a platform. You can get connected. You can get connected through the network, and also you gain insights, very decent insights, to avoid any problems. And this is very much required at this point of time in India. That's the reason we call it as an Indian business excellence. With all global pressures in place to compete in a global economy, global markets, especially with China and other countries. So India needs to excel in every front. Okay, it's also supported by government, like Atmanirbhar programs. So it's very critical that we become self-sufficient. So we that is the reason, today's all speakers are Indians, giving their experience for Indian executives. So welcome to the show. We will delay for 1 or 2 minutes just to, this is a program start, to just to catch up all the attendees and participants. So I would like to give some idea that YouTube channel is live. Please share link to all the possible contacts from your side. It's free, and there will be. You might have disturbance in LinkedIn uh, live telecast, because sometimes it has an issue, but YouTube channel is something which is very tested and used, so you can do it. And from in YouTube you can post questions, and those questions will be directly visible in the for the speaker. Okay, for the speaker. So that's exactly the point. And the second thing is, make sure that you stay tuned in YouTube, so that you don't get disconnected. So even if you're in the live in the LinkedIn, you can always keep YouTube link with you handy. So that is number one. And please make sure post your questions, so the speaker can answer them in the middle, or at the end, wherever applicable, based on the interaction. So I take this as an opportunity to invite one and all to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, let us start Indian Business Excellence Summit Edition 1. Thank you very much. So I would like to invite our opening speaker, Mr. Ravi Ramanathan. So thank you, Ravi Garu. Thank you for seeing you again. Very insightful. Always, I get motivated when I talk to you.
Thank you.
Even when I met you in Pune, it was really a very fantastic meeting. So just take a quick introduction. So Ravi is talking on AI and analytics for business excellence, strategy management, and decision intelligence. Ravi is a seasonal leader with 39 plus years of a cross-functional experience, founder of Strategic Inflection Solutions, driving AI-led and digital transformation projects, while advising corporates on strategy execution and mentoring professionals and students globally. So welcome, Mr. Ravi Ramanathan. Over to you.
Thank you, Abdulji. This probably my third such intervention with you for fruiStrategy, and I like this topic pretty well. The point is that strategy is everywhere, and people don't realize that strategy is not etched on stone. And it's necessary that we keep revisiting strategy. And unlike before, today's strategies are no longer for 5 years. The change, which is the only thing that is continuous, it's something that forces every organization to revisit strategies at correct intervals and arrive at correctional or course corrections as they implement their strategies over time. And today we have access to extraordinary amount of data. We have access to so many other resources that were not easily available before, but it's available at the fingertips thanks to the internet, thanks to the repositories that are open for us, and thanks to all those tools that we have at our disposal today, where instead of spending hours and hours on research and bring them all together as a meaningful, comprehensive insight for deciding on our choices, what we should do on a strategic perspective, we have tools like analytics, and we have data analytics tools, and then we also have what's known as artificial intelligence. Now, the greatest myth that that is going around in the market is that artificial intelligence eliminates the need for the individual strategist to make any strategies. It will do it for him or her. The problem is that's far from the truth. So it is important that we look at strategy as a tool rather on not as something that we outsource our ideas and decision choices and it'll do it for us. It won't. This entire 30 odd minutes of presentation, instead of making it more like a whole lot of slideware, I have decided that I'll give it to you in bits and pieces which will tie together as what is happening in real life. Indian companies, Indian corporates have come a very long way. We are no lesser than global corporations, and we are doing some fantastic work. But are we using all the resources available to us? And how are we using these resources? This is what we're going to try and understand. So I'll share my screen and we go forward from there. Entire screen.
Yeah,
Are you able to see the screen?
yeah, yeah. We can see the screen. Yes.
Okay. Now, artificial intelligence and data analytics for business excellence. This is where the strategy meets decision intelligence. So I will explain what is decision intelligence as we go into the presentation. Until then, let's visit what we are doing now. Organizations today are data rich, but they are not using that data to power their decision, and hence their decision poor. Dashboards look very beautiful, great on screen. Strategic meetings still rely on intuition and hierarchy or hindsight. I know, I've got the experience. This data is fine, but in reality. So, like for example, we have enterprise resource ERPs, CRM, then we have BI tools, AI systems, and other tools and applications. Yet, we don't use them to the fullest. Our strategy cycles are slow, decisions are very reactive. Analytics is often a reporting function and not a decision engine. Some companies do it, but to what extent we don't really know. The real opportunity is not AI or analytics. The opportunity is decision intelligence. How do we make our decisions using all these tools? So, if you look at business excellence, then it has changed. What we know about business excellence is our processes should be efficient. We should optimize costs so that there are no wastages. What can be outsourced should be outsourced. What could be kept inside should be inside. If you look at a strategy just immediately prior and post pandemic, sorry, many organizations realize that some of the support functions can be outsourced, especially administrative tasks, facilities management, human resources personnel. That's surprising, but that has not really worked out that well. But many organizations outsource that in order to contain costs, the overhead costs. And then, but that not all strategies really come out as the best. But then there is a cycle of learning. Do we keep systems in house or should we subscribe to a cloud based infrastructure? That will get us to be a lot more cost optimal. Pay as we use. Then we review very periodically, quarterly, half-yearly. It's not a progressive review. And then we focus so much on lagging indicators and how do we solve the problem. So it's the problem focused review for business excellence rather than success focused or proactiveness. Then the new reality, as the markets have developed, the technologies have gone heavy, we see that the opportunities are getting rather volatile. The markets are all volatile, thanks to other factors like geopolitical tensions or socio-political or socio-economic factors. The markets are volatile. This demands some real quick response, and very few companies are spontaneous enough to respond quickly to market changes. Pandemic was one great example where supply chains were affected globally, and how companies decided that post pandemic, how will they ensure that they don't lose their market share. Then technology drives further complications, like digital native companies give the run for the money for brick and mortar companies through their agility, through their fluidity, and through their ability to respond to market changes very quickly. And the new reality also says that your strategy cycles are not for 5 years or 3 years. It should be much faster than that, and then adapt to market forces that impact you. And then decisions are not made once and then followed through for the next few months or years as per strategy, but it's a continuous decision making process that is required at today's scenario. And this is exactly what we talk about. The change is the continuum. If we don't have change, then we have to be a little careful. It's the thing that we have to worry about. Change is necessary. So AI and analytics are no longer support function. This is where they come in. They are strategic infrastructure, and we will see how they are going to impact our organization's excellence and decision intelligence in the remaining slides. So business excellence today means speed of decisions. We don't wait for too long, but to be able to make decisions, decisions are choices, right? In order to make the correct choice, we need data, and we also need immense research and analysis power, which done manually will take ages. And that speed of decision does not make sense at that time, because we take a long time even to arrive at the factors that's going to help us. This is where your data analytics and the AI play a big role. And the quality of decisions. Decision backed by data always gives you clean and correct data, gives you an advantage. And then, of course, the decision that we take and the strategy that we make should be consistent across the organization. So, from analytics to artificial intelligence to decision intelligence, this is the path. So, what we are talking about is what, why, what next, and what should we do. Excuse me. Back again. Descriptive is what happened. This is basically looking into the rear view mirror. Dashboards that gives you a snapshot of your organization from various perspectives. Then key performance indicators that tell you what needs to be, what are the performance metrics, what are the performance criteria for you to show that organization is growing. Then historical performance, how did we do earlier? Then comes stage two, where diagnostic and predictive analytics. Why did it happen and what next? What should we do? So root cause analysis, we started focusing on root cause analysis. Then we took a lot of effort in forecasting. Not necessarily that we are really following that forecasting decision that we have taken, but it's happening. And then, due to the availability of technology, more and more organizations have started using scenario modeling before they arrive at a particular choice. And one good example for scenario modeling tool is what if analysis. What if I increase the price of this product? What if I get out of this particular market and concentrate my resources on a lot better market that is paying you more dividend for your expenses? Those are various scenarios we talk about. And then with AI, decision intelligence gets enhanced. So here we can get some recommendation through pattern analysis of patterns that are otherwise hidden. So identifying these hidden patterns, getting recommendation from a system that is intelligent. Ultimately, you should understand that decisions are still human. It is not going to be a machine that's going to decide for you. Then it also gives you trade-off simulation, similar to what if the trade-off matrix, the proverbial trade-off matrix that we use in our organizations. And then choices adjusted for risk. It's so possible to predict risk now and take proactive mitigation, implement proactive mitigation exercises so that those risks are not going to affect us in the future. Decision intelligence is where data plus domain plus judgment plus AI come together. The judgment essentially has to be human. It's impossible. AI can't replace humans. AI can at best be a co worker with you, where it can help you arrive at the right decisions. So, where AI actually creates strategic advantage? We should explore this with some functional examples. Start the strategy and management. You can understand how a market is performing, how the market, where the market is heading, who are the new competitors that are coming, how is the market holding up against various socioeconomic pressures, and what can you do from that information. So market sensing using AI. The data here is going to be huge. Processing it manually is not going to help you. It's not going to be that quick enough for you. So artificial intelligence systems play a big role in getting this data in place and then to also help you analyze it. And then strategy scenario simulations. Then we have sales and marketing, customer segmentation beyond demographics, price sensitivity modeling, and AI led demand forecasting. These are all looking like cliches, but and it's all very good to look at in a textbook. But then, how many companies are really using this? And do these companies have good analytic translators? The translators are those who would bridge data analysts and the business. Um they're all still in the making in our country. So when you look at strategy management, uh, one example would be a simple question: what happens to EBITDA if demand drops 7% and raw material costs rise 4%? It's a small problem. It can be easily calculated in the back of a napkin if your company is not too big. But at the same time, if the operations are very huge and the possible outcomes can be complex, then this particular example requires additional technical advantage, I mean, technical assistance. And with that assistance, you can get this data much faster and help you formulate a strategy for meeting such a contingency where EBITDA can be affected when a demand drops 7%, 10%, 5%, whatever other raw material cost increase. The fixed overheads are going to be there. The variable overheads also will increase. So let's see how that work. In sales and marketing, if you look at how AI helps you, the shift is from who to target to who not to target. That's very important. Walking away is not easy, but at the same time, why waste resources when you do not have to work on a set of potential customers who would not buy from you? So let's look at this EBITDA problem. I'll take a pause here instead of giving more theoretical concepts. Let's answer the EBITDA question. This is not a forecasting question. This is a decision question about sensitivity, resilience, and choices. So EBITDA, as a recap, is revenue minus variable cost minus fixed operating costs. So the question really becomes: what happens to revenue when demand drops? What happens to cost when input prices rise? Simple answer: cost will also go up. When demand drop, the very simple answer is that the sales will be low, so the amount of earnings will be less. Because of that, the gross margin will get gross profit gets affected, and because of the company perform and operating income also gets reduced, the company doesn't perform. These are all simple, obvious, no nonsense responses that we get in our mind, but it's a lot more than that. Which costs are flexible versus fixed? Where all can we cut costs? That is the austerity measure the companies use most of the time. So in this case, assume current situation, revenue is 100, EBITDA margin is 20%. That means EBITDA is 20%. So this is our scenario. Let's see how we can take the scenario into an example. Demand drops 7%. That means revenue falls from 100 to 93. But costs don't fall at the same rate. The costs will fall much lower. Fixed costs remain unchanged. In this scenario, what happens is EBITDA falls more than 7%. This is an operating leverage. Why is it a leverage? We'll see that. Raw material costs rise 4%. That means variable cost increase and gross margin compresses. Some of my students who are attending here, gross margin is what you earn from the next sales after expenses. Net sales minus expenses. These expenses could be cost of goods sold plus SG&A, and operating and marketing, etc. EBITDA takes a second hit 2 times. So combined effect, the key insight, a 7% demand drop plus 4% cost inflation does not reduce EBITDA by 11%. 7 plus 4, no. It can easily reduce EBITDA by 25 to 40% depending on cost structure. Imagine that it's a very simple a small company, and they have very predictable values at any given point in time. Back with the napkin calculations can give you this information. But what happens when it's a large corporation? And there are many in India. This is where the AI driven scenario modeling becomes critical. With analytics, leaders can instantly see EBITDA impact under multiple scenarios, break even demand levels, and then sensitivity by product, region, or customer. And this helps in analyzing which levers matter most. Is it pricing? Is it cost pass through? Or is it volume protection? Or is it cost restructuring? This is what is the decision intelligence upgrade. Instead of what happens to EBITDA, leaders should ask which decisions protect EBITDA the fastest, where can we pass on cost without destroying demand, which products or customers turn EBITDA negative first, What actions do we take at minus 3% or minus 7% and minus 10% demand? This is again a comparative analysis. Moving forward, the power of analytics is not predicting the future perfectly, but it is helping leaders rehearse the future before it happens. This is something that I cooked up last night when I was doing this presentation. It alludes to the overall theme of this particular speech. Then other areas besides strategic marketing, sales, operations and supply chain, inventory optimization, predictive maintenance, risk aware sourcing decisions, from firefighting to foresight. So you're prepared. Will there be a shortage of raw material because of poor climatic conditions? You're prepared. You're going to simulate that scenario using these tools. The executive intent here is risk aware, trade off driven, and then proactive operations. Take proactive steps. And then the question is which disruption will hurt us the most in the next 90 days? That means you're planning ahead. And what do we preempt today? So, how do I ensure that doesn't happen? So, it's a risk situation. What can happen in 90 days today? Because currently the production run is going on and I'm happy. There is enough stock and I'm good. But unless continuous production happens, I'm not going to be in this on the shelves in the market. Off the shelf, of the eyes, of the mind. So being there is so important. Finance and performance management, this is a no-brainer. Rolling forecast instead of annual budgets. Cash flow prediction, so that you can prepare yourself for lean times. And then early warning signals. It's not mathematics, right? It's going to be quite a bit of complex logic. From reporting numbers to steering outcomes is what? That means we control the outcomes and we don't let outcomes control us. Because we don't let outcomes surprise us. The executive intent here is forward looking, capital allocation, focused, and value based. You could ask which cost cuts improve margin and which quietly destroy long term value. So, AI actually creates an advantage where decisions are frequent, high stakes, and uncertain. So, what is decision intelligence then? That's exactly what we've been talking about so far, isn't it? Data plus domain plus AI plus human judgment. What decision intelligence does is reduces blind spot. That means we do not blunder and blind into any of the choices, any of the strategies that we take. It shows trade-offs. If I increase price, what could be my loss of customers? Just take an example. Let's use a simple game theory here. McDonald's and Burger King. I'll use Indian currency values here, since there's an Indian business excellence. So McDonald's has one of their burgers for 50 rupees. And for the sake of argument, let's look at McDonald's and Burger King having 50-50 market share. So McDonald's has a burger for 50. That means Burger King also needs to have their burger at 50. Else customers will go in for to McDonald's more, because there's not much of a differentiation there. It's more like a duopoly in the market. Suddenly, McDonald's decides that somehow they need to capture more market. And one of the best ways to do this is to reduce the price for a bit. So they reduce the price from 50 to 45. What do you think Burger King would do? Exactly, they will reduce the price to 45 too. But at the same time, there is no compromise on the quality of the food offered. And somehow McDonald's decides to hold on to their quality, etc. So does Burger King. But when McDonald's decreased the price and Burger King did not, a lot of Burger King's customers migrated to McDonald's, would migrate because they get a better price. But when Burger King reduces the price and equals it to McDonald's, then the situational shift is not necessary. So people will go back to their original buying behavior. Then McDonald's reduces by another 3 rupees. That's about, it becomes 42. Burger King does that too. But this is the point beyond which neither can reduce the prices. And this, in analytical and game theory parlance, we call it Nash equilibrium. It's a small single one product, two company scenario. Imagine the same thing when there is a huge market where there are multiple competitors and each one having their own ideas about playing with their prices of the products, etc. That is where the technology helps you. But the final judgment is whether are you ready to accept, and then will you take ownership and accountability for the decision that you make. That has to be human. And the uncertainty about the whole thing, now decision intelligence quantifies that. What will happen if I do this? Decision intelligence does not remove humans. It enables humans to take intelligent, data backed decision for their organizations. AI does not tell you what to think, it helps you think better. These are the two things that I want you to take away from this particular session, along with the other one liners that I've generously put in. Strategy is no longer something that you do it annually, and you need to understand that it's evolving. It's a continuous process today. Traditional strategy, annual planning, assumptions are rather static, often based on past performance and how much. These are the same, this kinds of cliches that we see, right? A service-based organization cannot more grow more than 30% year on year organically. If they want to grow more, they have to do inorganic, which essentially means that they will need to buy other companies. These are all cliches. It's not necessarily true. These assumptions often are stumble blocks for progressive strategies. But these assumptions also helps us anchor ourselves and not take risks. A risk appetite is required if businesses have to survive in this very highly competitive market. Your ability to take on risks determines your ability to grow, literally. Lagging review is again the negative part of it, where we say what went wrong, what did not come out as exactly what we expected it. But if you look at further, AI enabled strategy tells you something more. It's like continuous sensing what is happening, that the change, dynamic reallocation of resources, of funds, and then decision feedback loops. That means you're going to be constantly monitoring, measuring, and doing course correction. And that is possible with an AI enabled strategy where the parameters that we're going to be using are so many that doing it manually will take a lot of time, and AI can make it simpler. And ultimately, we as humans would then look at what AI has given us and then make our own decisions. Then comes the decision loop framework, sense, that is data plus signals, the signals from the market. Then we interpret, that is analytics plus AI. Then we decide, that means it's a human judgment. And act, this is execution. And improve and course correction through feedback from which we learn further. So that is organizations that win are not the most intelligent, or not necessarily the most intelligent. They are the fastest learners in a ever-changing, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world today, VUCA, as we know it. Then we have common mistake leaders make with AI. How am I doing for time, Praveen?
So we do have 10 more minutes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll finish it in
Hmm.
5. Common
Yeah.
mistakes leaders make with AI and analytics is extremely important. We do this tool first thinking. Oh, buying AI before defining the decision. Why do you want to have AI without knowing what you want to do? AI assistants are not a solve all do all. They're not a panacea. The next one is analytics teams isolated from business. That means analytics team look at data as data, and they will analyze the data as per what the business requires. Majority time, the business can never ever go and say that the analytics team gave us these insights. The business has to own it. That means business have to ask the analytic teams what they want. Great models, yes. Zero adoption. Expecting AI to automate strategy, that's a no-no. It'll never happen. Strategy is still human-led. Human-led. Technology helps. Ignoring change management. Often, the barriers of fear, cultural issues, gaps in skill. It is important. You don't need to be an AI expert or a data analytics expert. You need to know how to use them. Skill gaps, and then trust issues. How can I trust this decision suggested by AI? AI fails less because of technology and more because of leadership mindset. Same as the analytics part. So we need to know how to use that. So what should the leaders do next? Actionable. Start with decisions, not data. What are our top 10 recurring decisions? Which are high impact and high uncertainty? To answer these questions, use data and analyze the data. And to make choices, use tools. Build human plus AI capabilities. That is AI enabled analytics, human led decision. That's how it should be. AI literacy for leaders, extremely important. AI should not be looked at as a panacea for all your business needs. Analytics translator, these are the people you need to build analytic translators within the organization where business asks specific questions to the data analysts, and when that recommendations come, these translators translate numbers to the business. So this is the beautiful job function, and many organizations are slowly getting this particular job function as analytics translators, but not many. Some of them are, and that's going to go a long way. And then business owned models, that means models are always owned by the business, not the analyst, not the data scientist. If he says that if I have to increase inventory in 7 different locations, how did that affect my overall market presence? How does it impact it? Maybe the goods are still available, but probably the demand is not so much in those areas. Some of the areas, the number crunchers will crunch all the numbers and give you this has been the overall status so far, and because the market is such that we can try and push for additional sales, but the business will have to own that before they implement. Embed analytics into strategy forums, board meetings, business reviews, forecast discussions. You need analytics, you need multiple scenarios. And then move from reports to recommendation. Shift every dashboard from what happened to what decision does this inform. Present 2 3 recommended actions with trade offs, not 20 KPIs. Ideally, best case, base case, and risk case. Then time box inside. That means put a time stamp inside to decision windows. Use this so that numbers insights change when the market change. What should we decide this week, this month, this quarter? For what reason? If a dashboard doesn't change a decision, it is just a decoration. Frankly, that's what it is. A note on business owned AI model. What decision is the model supporting? When is it used? What happens if it's wrong? This is the business defines decision. Quarterly pricing decision for up to for a top 50 customers. Okay, business owns the assumption, demand elasticity, cost pass-through, risk threshold, and constraint. Business is accountable for outcomes. The model informs decision. Leaders decide and act. Success or failure is owned by the business. In the business owns the assumption, we assume demand drops sharply beyond a 4% price increase. Then analyze the variables and tell me how I can overcome them. So, to complete, business owned models don't mean business teams build algorithms. They mean business leaders own the decisions, the assumptions, and the consequences. Analytics team build and maintain the models, but the business owns the thinking. That's when models get used. So, AI analytics are not the future of strategy, they are the new language of leadership. It comes from taking better decisions faster, consistently, and to scale. Thank you for attending this session.
So wonderful lecture, Raviji.
Thank you.
So thank you. I really liked decision intelligence does not remove humans.
Exactly.
I think that's exactly the very important thing. Everyone now thinking that AI will remove people in the human in the loop and do everything by itself. No, that's not really correct. And you explained very nicely what you should do to enable AI for your organization. Okay, so, and you should not do it in a overwhelmingly uh, exceedingly complicated. Make it simple, use it properly, and you also said that you put a timestamp on the decisions. So that is fantastic way. Okay, so there are a couple of questions. There are, I think, there will be questions raised. Uh, so, is how the AI can be used in arriving the target market like a TAM, SAM, SOM. So, one of my colleague has posted this question to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so can how can AI used to do this? Because this is one of the exercise which is very important for every marketing professional. Of course, it's a part of the strategy. That is number one. Maybe you can take another question also and talk about it. How AI can be used to read and analyze financial statements. Okay, from your experience. So maybe these two you can just elaborate a little. Yeah.
Fine. I'll take simple examples rather than going into
Mhm.
um, uh, larger examples. Let's take a look at TAM, SAMs, and so on, right? TAM is the total addressable market for any product for that matter. The total addressable market is global, literally. And because it's a product can be used for globally, and they have the presence for it. Now, the amount of data that is available and the variations in cultural differences using that product in multiple regions, and the other factors like price points and competitor data will be so huge. So now, and not about out of all this huge amount of data that you get, like in the state of big data, 15% is relevant. The 85% is not really relevant. So to identify that 15% or serviceable market, immediately services SOM, okay, and serviceable accessible market, SAM. So this is the market where this company can actually readily service without having to go through enormous amount of expenditure. That means serviceable, accessible. That means they have access to that market, maybe their own country, maybe their own city, maybe something really in different other nearby cities for that particular product. So the variables are phenomenal, and the data that you get have got lots of hidden information, these patterns that needs to be determined. Doing it manually, it's possible, but it's going to take a huge amount of time. Now AI will help you identify critical factors. AI will help you hidden factors. AI will provide you insights into what areas that you should concentrate before venturing into any kind of expansion into a region or a new product territory or a new customer segment. So basically, it helps you um, be more accurate in what you're doing. It helps you process large volumes of information quickly, in and then it also gives you multiple choices where you can choose what is best for you. And fourth, AI is going to help you be as accurate as possible. uh, is
Yep.
that answer, does it
Yeah,
answer?
yeah, yeah. The conclusion of what I get is the TAM, SAM, and SOM
Song,
can
yeah.
be properly assessed by
Yes,
AI. Okay, and it will be done assessed in a much better way and also in a faster,
quicker, faster way.
quicker. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
and the second question, you talked about how does AI help in financial analysis. Basic financial analysis, you can definitely do it for your own company using Excel, for example, or Google Sheet. No brainer. Suppose you're a market research professional and you're going to do analysis of finances across multiple industry sectors and multiple companies, for example, or your own conglomerate with multiple businesses, and your executive management wants to get an idea of what's happening. The
Mhm.
basic stuff is what are my P&L, how much is my, what is my net sales, what is my gross sales, what is my operating income, then what is my gross margin, what is my gross profit, that is gross margin, what is my operating profit margin. The moment it is margin, it's a percentage, whereas it's when it's a profit, it becomes a absolute number. So there are lots of these financial data which is obvious when you just look at the finances. But then there are patterns, there are decision patterns. Remember, Abdul, we used to have that one example. I'll use the same example here.
Mhm.
A company has a net sales X, and it has been growing over the last 5 years. Everybody is happy. Wow, the net sales are growing. And then the gross margin and gross profit is also growing because the sales is growing, the gross profit is also growing, and everybody says, wow, this is extraordinary. The gross profit is also growing. I'm happy. Then the operating income, that also shows positive numbers rather than any stress. So the immediate thought would be, oh, my company is growing great. But when you look at the gross margin and operating profit margin, you suddenly realize the the gross margin percentages over the last 5 years has actually decreased. The operating margin percentages over the last 5 years has actually decreased. So literally, while one side says that your company is growing, the other side is saying that your company is going through a certain set of efficiency crisis.
Mm.
AI is going to identify this particular thing, not just pointing out saying that the margins are actually declining, so is that values for operating margins declining. It'll also tell you, especially in a very large databases, very quickly, what are all the choices that you have, looking at whether it's um, COGS that needs to be optimized, cost of goods sold that needs to be optimized. Is it SG&A that needs to be optimized? Or is it the marketing, the return per marketing dollars used? Is it optimal, or can it be optimized from a regional specific marketing spend? All these things, AI can give it to you much faster than without errors, provided your data is clean, and
Mhm.
then make you take the best of strategies that you want.
Fantastic, fantastic.
The
So
next, yeah,
thank you, Raviji. Yes, we have a time constraint, but ladies and gentlemen, please post your questions. We make sure that these questions are answered by Mr. Ravi, and also if you would like to reach Ravi directly and ask any question or take any help, please feel free. Write to us. We will just connect to you. So thank you very much,
thank you.
and wonderful lecture as usual, Ravi ji. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you
Very
very much.
insightful.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you,
All
thank
the
you very
best.
much. Thank you, and have a good day. Yeah, please stay tuned.